What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I was over here cooking brunch, and this article just came across my way. Not follower, I don't call them followers, but a Twitter mutual of mine sent me this tweet about Ridley Scott saying, you know, his take on superhero movies, talking about they don't have good stories and they have bad scripts and why the storytelling can't be good and they're only saved by special effects. Now, me being the fan of superhero movies that I am, and horror, and all things genre, I think this is yet another OG director, and much respect to, really, this is no disrespect to him at all, but it's just salt that I think he's having from, his last film not really doing what he thought it should do. The Last Duel, for those. I'm not going to say the numbers, I'm not going to disrespect it, but if you know what it did in theaters, you know that it's not good. And it's been a trend of whenever a lot of these, and he's not the only one. There are other directors who come out and release movies, and when their movies don't do like they wanted them to do or were discussed doing, they aim the gun at comic book movies and shoot the shots at them. Now, I've already been on my channel, like I said, on Eternals, where I'm like, the MCU was putting out a lot of content, almost too much, and they should slow down. But I still feel like taking aim at them is not cool, for one, especially me being a comic book fan. And let me preface this by saying I lean more on the DCEU side, so no, I'm not an MCU stan, so please don't think that I'm caping for the MCU. But I like the MCU too, and I think this is my issue when it comes to like the highbrow in the film world, and why I don't even like the Oscars and none of the awards and all that stuff. It's just because the way they look down on the comic book genre, the way they look down on the horror genre, the way they look down on the action genre films in general just get looked down upon. And I think it's honestly disheartening, because there's no need for the salt, because to be being real, these blockbuster movies like this are what keep the lights on in the studios to allow other movies to be made. So you're not going to get a budget if you don't have other films bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars. Just it is what it is. It's been how it's been since back in the day. I mean, I can't recall, I was younger back then, but I can't recall people going at, all of the 90s action blockbusters when they had a string of them. I'm talking about Speed, The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. All of this stuff was like boom, boom, boom. Like so many was dropping, and I just can't recall people going in the way they're going in on comic book movies, because people love them. And it's just disheartening to see such an OG like that, and others like Martin Scorsese and everybody just always take aim at comic book movies, right? And see, I'm not tight. Like I said, it's more disappointing for them to feel the need to always shoot at something I love about. Like, comic books are something that I grew up on as a kid, and they helped me get through school when I used to get picked on and alienated. I'd go back home, open a comic book, see Spider-Man, like he's like alienated too. Look at Batman, he's the coolest guy, I want to be like him. Look at the X-Men, everybody hates mutants. As a black person, being aware of racism, it made me feel kind of comfortable. Like, oh, okay, mutants. I'm like a mutant. I have a superpower. My dark skin is a superpower, and people just mad because they can't do what I do. So that's why I hold these movies to heart. And seeing all these comic book movies again, like I said, MCU, I think they should slow down to help space this, their content out so people can soak it in for what it is. And that's what I'm getting into now. I think there are stories to tell. Is every film a masterpiece of Godfather screenwriting? No. The same thing can be said about drama films. All the drama films aren't good. Same thing can be said about action films. All action films aren't good. All thrillers aren't good. You can't throw a blanket statement over there just because the ones that you've seen didn't particularly hit your fancy. So it's not just one genre. Let's not act like that. I mean, it is what it is. You can find it in any genre of film, regardless of what it is. And if you take a deep dive and look at certain stories, you can definitely see great scripts of story writings. Like I said, whether you agree or disagree with somebody, it's opinion. But there are a number of people who have comic book movies that have great stories. Like for me personally, I think DC, as far as films, from that aspect, I feel like that's why I favored them, is because they kind of construct themselves as like regular movies, if you will, like normal films having the same type of things that you would see like in a thriller or a drama. It's kind of why I like DC more than Marvel. Even since back in the day, I mean, you look at Batman '89, Batman Returns. You know, of course, Batman and Robin and Batman Forever are the ones that are cheesy and not so much. But you go from that to, you know, even to today's times when you have, you know, the Dark Knight trilogy, Joker, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Justice League. You have these more story-driven and serious thriller-type movies, but we also get, you know, the fantasy like Aquaman, Shazam, you know, the Suicide Squad. I feel like they all operate as movies and not like trying to put them to the side like comic book movies. And that's no slight to Marvel either, because Marvel has some bangers too. I mean, let's not act like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy isn't one of the best trilogies ever. People like to dump on the third one, but the third one is still watchable and has a decent story. I mean, if you look at the amount of things that Peter goes through in all of those movies and where his arc ends, like, it's great storytelling. The first two Blades, you know what I'm saying? Winter Soldier, even Infinity War, Black Panther. Like, there are movies there that provide what you're looking for in that department. So to me, to throw a blanket statement over the entire genre, and of course he probably isn't throwing it over the genre, over the entire genre. I don't know who he's aiming at, but I'm just saying, to say that publicly is going to stir up a lot, and it's just disheartening for like just to see these actors throw so much shots at comic book movies. And to get into a little something else, it's the same thing with directors throwing shots at streaming services. Like Quentin Tarantino the other day said, you know, TV experience is disposable. And again, that's something I disagree with. You cannot make a blanket statement like that. And I get that he's not saying that's the only, you know, people are saying that he's not saying that's the only way, but it sure came off to me that's what he was saying in the interview was, you know, that's why TV can't, you know, compare to, you know, film. And like, again, that's another thing. You're taking shots at another way out for people to just do what they want to do. If somebody, person watch it at home, they can watch it. I know people with home studios, damn near in their house, they got, you know, rows of seats and the big screen, you know, projector. What makes it different for them? Some people can watch it on their you know, on the regular TV and still enjoy it. What's to stop from everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's things like that that I'm like, it's just disheartening to see the OGs take so many shots at the new school. You know, they do the same thing with, like, you know, other stuff, but I'm not gonna get on a tangent with that. But yeah, it's just disheartening to see him say that about a genre I care so much about, and just not a good look, man. So that's all I'm gonna say. Again, I'm not in here ranting and going crazy, but just my thoughts and perspective on it. So if you disagree, that's fine. Don't hate me for it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment on how you feel about the situation, and like, subscribe. Until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.